So if you follow the curve, we came up quick, peaked up, and we're about halfway down the other side. So the question's going to be is what the bottom part of that decline in that peak is going to look like. Will it shoulder out some? Probably a little bit, I think, particularly in our younger groups, particularly in the younger 18. But it'll still keep coming down. So that's good. We'll see in the next month what that might mean as far as restrictions. You know, I get all these emails all the time about people saying, you know, when are we going to release all these restrictions? And, you know, actually, for here, in our area around here, and I know other areas it's been a little bit different, either more relaxed or more strict, but here in North Carolina, we really haven't had a lot of restrictions. I mean, all our kids have been in school. There hasn't been any virtual learning. We've actually cut our quarantine down and our isolation time down in half to just 5 days. And largely we're still wanting people to mask up, but that's about it. You know, kids' basketball games are going on. Senior groups are getting together for their community activities. So people are, for the large amount during Omicron, have been able to do what they want. One area where we're still having cluster outbreaks, and it's actually frankly still dangerous, is in long-term care facilities, so nursing homes and some other congregate facilities. What's a congregate facility is where people congregate. Prisons and areas such as this. And so they tend to get, when they get their outbreaks with Omicron, because Omicron's so contagious, it spreads very quickly. In the nursing home situation, a lot of it is still coming from staff who have breakthrough infections. And so I won't go into the details about what these facilities are doing, but it involves a lot of testing for staff and for residents in these facilities to try to extinguish these outbreaks when they occur. These kind of outbreaks will continue to occur with Omicron well after our surge of Omicron is over. As time goes on, cluster outbreaks will still be happening. Our hospitals still are stressed. There's still a lot of patients with COVID in our hospitals, and it takes a while to get through and to get those patients discharged. Even though the numbers of new admissions with Omicron have declined, they're still happening, almost all in the unvaccinated group of people. And some of these still are fairly sick. And looking at our ICU numbers still, they're a lot higher than they need to be. So once we get through this surge, then I think that we can talk about removing some of the things that we're doing, and that might include relaxing masking, and we'll see if the numbers get down low enough to sort of where they were right when we were talking about letting the masks go last early November, before the numbers went up again. Then we can talk about taking the masks off in school and in universities and in workplaces. I can tell you they won't come off in hospitals though. The decision making on how to have masking released in a hospital situation relies on other things other than just community numbers and community transmission. A little bit about testing. We talked about the last 2 weeks that if you need a test for COVID, got the sniffles, got exposed, or just you're going on a family gathering, going to go to a wedding, going to go to a funeral, you want to get tested before you go, then the place to go is Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist testing centers. At Wilkesboro, starting in the mountains, we'll work our way down, is at the Lowe's Park at River's Edge, which is out by the old airport, for those of you who remember the old airport up in Wilkes County. And then here in Winston, Bowman Gray Stadium, towards the back part in the parking lot. And then in High Point at Providence Place Mall on the backside on Westchester Drive. The hours are 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, and Saturdays from 10 to 3, unless we get another huge snowstorm, which could disrupt it. But I don't see any of those on the horizon, just a little bit of smoke. So, so those are the places to go. Pretty cool. They're free. Also really cool is your turnaround time is 24 to 36 hours. You can't beat that. Can't get that anywhere else. So if you need to do your travel to Europe, that's the place to go, because you'll get your result back. So you'll have your test back before you go. Don't go to the emergency department. Don't go to urgent care. These places are busy and staffing's tight. You'll wait. You'll wait a long time. The average urgent care wait, unless you have a real emergency, is going to be 3 hours. Your Bowman Gray Stadium wait is about 5 to 10 minutes. So I know which one I would do. So the Forsyth County Health Department and my friends and colleagues over there wanted me to let people know that this coming Saturday, what's the date? Saturday. Today's the 3rd, 4th, 5th. The 5th of February, this coming Saturday, over at the Health Department, which is at 799 North Highland. I'll say it again, here in Winston, 799 North Highland, over just east of 52. You can go get N95 masks, and they'll give you a couple, 3, as we say in the upper Midwest. And then you can also get tested, and they'll also give you home antigen tests. They have, I think, around 9,000 home antigen tests to distribute. So if you haven't gotten your home antigen test yet from the government, or you haven't bought one to have at home, that's the place to go. Home antigen tests are useful because if somebody, whoops, I feel a little congested today, I think it's just a cold, but I'm not so sure, you can test. And they're good enough for that situation, so they're sensitive enough. There's been a question posed to us about testing. When someone tests positive on an at-home antigen test, so got a sniffle, feel stuffy, maybe a little achy this morning, not quite myself, do a home antigen test, it's positive. When do I need to test again? Well, the short answer is most people don't need to test again. What you do in that situation is you isolate for 5 days. You can let the health department know by sending them a voicemail, and then that'll get you counted on the county list. And you isolate at home for 5 days. Get out the jigsaw puzzle and have your symptoms at home. Now, if you get more sick, if you start to have trouble breathing, or you just get so weak you can't get around the house, or if somebody says you're not thinking right, or you really don't look so good, then put on your mask, and then that's the reason to go to an emergency department or an urgent care to get evaluated. But otherwise, you didn't need to go there. At the end of your 5th day, and then you can put on a good mask. Maybe you got one of the N95s from the health department, and then you can go out and about. For the next 5 days, you'll want to be very religious about your masking. But you don't really need to retest because it's not all that informative or helpful for you. There are a few people, though, who might want to, and those people who are around people or are going to be around people who are frail, older, have underlying health problems, or immunocompromised. You might want to test before you get back to them. The tests are positive a little bit longer than what you're contagious. So just keep that in mind.